Shalom, all praises be unto Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bahasham Rcha Kodash. Double on unto the elder apostles and the elder bishops at Great Millstone who are well. They taught us his truth. Shalom unto the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. And salutes to the Archon who continues to push the word in truth and in sincerity and with charity on the highways and the byways, man. Yahweh Hashem Yahushai Barakatam. And this is the book of Susanna. And I'm just going to start from the top. And it says, there dwelt a man in Babylon called Joachim. And he took a wife whose name was Susanna, the daughter of Chelseas, a very fair woman, meaning beautiful, one that feared the Lord. Her parents also were righteous and taught their daughter according to the law of Moses. Now Joachim was a great rich man, and had a fair garden joining unto his house, and to him resorted the Jews, because he was more honourable than all others. The same year were appointed two of the ancients of the people to be judges, such as the Lord spake of, that wicked came from Babylon from ancient judges, who seemed to govern the people. These kept much at Jehoiakim's house, and all that had any suit in law came unto them. Now when the people departed away at noon, Susanna went into her husband's garden to walk. And the two elders saw her going in every day and walking, so that their lust was inflamed towards her. You know, and the scriptures speak about, sitting at all with another man's wife and things of that nature. But they had a evil lust, because they saw her going into the garden every day and taking her walk, right? She wasn't doing anything wrong. It was her husband's garden. She was within her right to do so. But these men, burned with lust, kept looking at her, man. It's like a real... It sounds silly to even say it, but it's such a heavy demon that's out there, where to the point, we have to remind, I'll just put it like this: there's been cases where brothers have to, within Israel, have had to been reminded, that a brothers, even recent cases, brothers, women, brothers, exes, brothers, past flings, whatever. If that brother ever dealt with that woman, and they're not dealing anymore, she's off limits. And that's the ABC that should be known, man. But again, that demon, that lust demon, that has no respect for the law, which will endorse adultery and fornication and all kind of wicked lusts, is what these two elders were taken over with. And essentially they were lusting after Joachim's wife Susanna, and they perverted their own mind and turned away their eyes, that they might not look unto heaven, nor remember just judgments. So that the law didn't come to their mind. A lot of the time, people that have the fringes infatuation, put it like that, where's your fringes, or this, that, not understanding why the fringes was given in the first place. You can ask a guy, why was the fringes implemented? What's the account? There's a good chance he may not know. Okay, it's not a fashion statement, but the fringes are there to remind us of the law, so that when we see them on our clothing, we're reminded to keep the law. But it says that they perverted their own mind and turned their eyes away, that they might not look unto heaven, nor remember just judgment, meaning that they didn't have any spirituality about them. They never thought about the law, righteousness. They were just hell-bent on this wicked lust. Verse 10, and it says, and albeit they both were wounded with her love, yet durst not one shew another his grief, for they were ashamed to declare their lust, that they had desired to have to do with her. Yet they watched diligently from day to day to see her. And the one said to the other, let us now go home for his dinner time. So when they were gone out, they departed, the one from the other, and turning back again, they came to the same place. Wow. And after that, they had asked one another the cause. They acknowledged their lust, then appointed they a time both together when they might find her alone. So they caught each other out and then got in cahoots together to basically catch her, man. And it fell out as they watched a fit time. She went in as before with 2 maids only, and she was desirous, and she was desirous to wash herself in the garden, for it was hot. And there was nobody there save the 2 elders that had hid themselves and watched her. And again, she wasn't doing anything wrong, because she was doing it within the perimeters of her husband's house. Okay, but these 2 are wicked because they were essentially spying on her, man. Verse 17, then she said to her maids, bring me oil and washing balls, and shut the garden doors that I may wash me, So she requested her privacy, alright, so the garden door, so that no one could walk in on her naked, bathing herself, right? And they did as she bade them, and shut the garden doors, and went out themselves at privy doors to fetch the things she had commanded them. But they saw not the elders, because they were hid. Now when the maids were gone forth, the 2 elders rose up and ran unto her, saying, behold, the garden doors are shut, that no man can see us, and we are in love with thee. Therefore consent unto us, and lie with us. So that's wicked, man. Absolute wickedness. And it says, if thou wilt not, we will bear witness against thee that a young man was with thee, and therefore thou didst send away thy maids from thee. So they said, listen, you're gonna, as they call it, as the term goes today, blackmail. And they said, look, man, if you don't lay with us, and essentially that would have been what they call a threesome, which is off, then they were going to lie and say that she had a young man in there, So, according to the law, what's meant to happen is that she would be put to death for committing adultery, because she's already married onto a man, Jehoiakim. Okay? So basically what they were saying is, if you don't lie with us, we're going to create a story whereby you die, So basically commit adultery or die, Then Susanna sighed and said, I am straitened on every side. For if I do this thing, it is death unto me. And if I do not, I cannot escape your hands. Because the account of 2 men, a man alone versus a woman, his word is more trusted, more weighty, and considered more accurate and trustworthy than a woman's word. Okay, I believe, is it 3 women? 3 women's account is equal to something like 1 man's account. I'm reminded of that meme, that drunk Zimbabwean guy. He goes, listen, let me tell you something. 1 drunken man is more intelligent than 3 with a woman with 3 PhDs. He goes, 1 drunken man is more intelligent than a woman with 3 PhDs. I'm not saying that's the case in every scenario, whatever the case may be, but scripturally, the word of a man and the account of a man is considered more accurate than a woman. Okay, because a man will probably be able to retell a situation, and a woman can as well, but she may miss certain things, or the emotions. Like sometimes women, they see, and we all see it when you deal with women. You got a woman or you got a daughter, but more so like dealing with women. something may happen. And he said, okay, calm down, tell me what happened. And they know what happened, but because they're so scared or flustered in the moment, they can't get it out right. So you going off her account is a kind of a weakened account, you know. That's why it's like 3 women's account to 1 man's account. You know, it was just as good as 1 man's account, right? So she realized, man, look, it's 2 of you against me. They're going to believe you guys. And you guys are elders at that. So either way, she's dead, you know. So then she said, it is better for me to fall into your hands and not do it than to sin in the sight of the Lord. She said, look, man, if I'm going to die anyway, it's better for me to die upholding righteousness rather than die committing sin in the sight of the Lord. Okay, because nobody else is here to see, right? But guess what? The Lord sees. So even if I die, I'll be justified, man. Okay, in the eyes of the Lord, you know. With that, Susanna cried with a loud voice, and the 2 elders cried out against her. Then ran the one and opened the garden door. So when the servants of the house heard the cry in the garden, they rushed in at the privy doors to see what was done unto her. And that's her crying. That was her fulfilling the law. Now, as we just read earlier, it says her parents taught her the law of Moses, the law of Yahweh, B'Hashem Yahushai, the Torah, the first 5 books. Okay, the scriptures, that's the scroll, the Torah, right? So by her parents teaching her the Torah when she was a child, she would have read in the law whereby if the woman screams, then she won't be put to death. But if she doesn't scream and goes along with the act of adultery, you know, then she's to be put to death with the man as well. So by her screaming, she was fulfilling the law because she'd been taught of it by her parents from a young age when she was a little girl. Okay? That's why the scripture says, train up a child in the way he shall go, and his old shall not depart from it. It's not only talking about, it means primarily talking about your boys, but really it applies to your boys and your girls. Okay, there's certain parts of the law that girls are to be taught and in the knowledge of as well. Okay, you know, you're taught these things by their father when they're young, ideally, and then as they grow up into young girls, young women, the mothers teach them, you know, basically all that a woman should know and be able to do. Okay, and women are also taught how to accept from men, you know, as well as serving men and how to attend unto a man. They're also taught how to accept true love, discipline, and even comfort from a man. A lot of these monster women out here today, a lot of them really is trauma. You know, they may come across a guy that actually treats them all right, and it's like they don't know how to act. They say they want the guy to treat them in a particular way, but when they get that type of guy, you know, that has discipline and structure and love but sternness to them, they don't know how to receive it because they never saw their mother receive it. They never saw their grandmother receive it. All their friends and cousins and sisters never received it. So it was a thing of, it's the ideal in a dream world, but if that dream ever came to reality, to fruition, they wouldn't know how to handle it, you know. And that's something that you notice out here, man. A lot of women don't know how to be attended to or taken care of by a man, you know. They jump into that defense mechanism, which is really a demon that's passed on from their mum, about being independent. I can do it all by myself and fuck men and all this. Is really because no one in their life had ever received you know, a true leadership figure or role in their life growing up, you know. And it says here in verse 27, but when the elders had declared their matter, the servants were greatly ashamed, for there was never such a report made of Susanna. And it came to pass the next day, when the people were assembled to her husband Jehoiakim, the 2 elders came also full of mischievous imagination against Susanna, to put her to death. and said before the people, "Send for Susanna, the daughter of Celsius, Joachim's wife." And so they sent. And so she came with her father and mother, her children, and all her kindred. Now Susanna was a very delicate woman and beauteous to behold. So she's a very feminine and beautiful woman. Okay? And these wicked men commanded to uncover her face, for she was covered that they might be filled with her beauty. Therefore her friends and all that saw her wept. Then the two elders stood up in the midst of the people and laid their hands upon her head, and she weeping, looking up toward heaven, for her heart trusted in the Lord. And the elders said, as we walked in the garden alone, this woman came in with two maids and shut the garden doors and sent their maids away. Then a young man who was hid, came unto her and lay with her. Then we that stood in a corner of the garden, seeing this wickedness, ran unto them. And when we saw them together, the man we could not hold, for he was stronger than we, and opened the door and leaped out. But having taken this woman, we asked who the young man was, but she wouldn't tell us. These things do we testify. And the assembly believed them as that were the elders and judges of the people. So they condemned her to death. Which shows you that not everyone that reaches a leadership position has righteous intentions, man. You got guys that reach leadership positions that are just fucking wicked. Close the book. That's it. They're just wicked. And there's no fear for the Lord, because they will bear false witness and lie in the presence of the Lord and other men. But let's keep reading. And it says, then Susanna cried out with a loud voice and said, "O everlasting power, thou knowest the secrets and knowest all things before they be. Thou knowest that they have borne false witness against me, and behold, I must die, whereas I never did such thing as these men have maliciously invented against me." And the Lord heard her voice. And that's the importance of it, man. Reading over this account of Susanna, it's not every time our voice will be heard. It's not every time, things will go our way. You may directly fuck up. Someone may lie on you. Whatever the case may be, at the end of the day, we can all put it under an umbrella term of it's unfortunate and not necessarily a good thing. But guess what? When we come before the Lord and do the right thing and cry unto him, this very simple verse in the spiritual is obviously only one chapter long, verse 44, 144, and the Lord heard her voice. Consider yourself that we are Susanna. She was actually obviously an Israelite sister, and this account is true, but the spirituality behind it is we are Susanna. Okay, and it says, therefore, when she was led to be put to death, the Lord raised up the Holy Spirit of a young youth, whose name was Daniel, who cried with a loud voice, "I am clear from the blood of this woman." Okay, so he was prophesying. Then all the people turned them towards him and said, "What mean these words that thou hast spoken?" So he standing in the midst of them said, "Are ye such fools, ye sons of Israel, that without examination or knowledge of the truth ye have condemned the daughter of Israel? Return again to the place of judgment, for they have borne false witness against her." Wherefore all the people turned again in haste, and the elder said unto him, "Come, sit down among us, and shew it us, seeing the Father hath given thee the honour of an elder." Then Daniel said unto them, "Put these two aside, one far from another, and I will examine them." And so when they were put asunder one from another, he called one of them and said unto him, "O thou art waxen old in wickedness, now thy sins which thou hast committed are aforetime come to light. For thou hast pronounced false judgment, and hast condemned the innocent, and that the guilty go free. Albeit the Lord saith, the innocent and righteous shall thou not slay. Now then, if thou hast seen her, tell me under what tree sawest thou them companying together?" who answered, a mastic tree. Then Daniel said, very well, thou hast lied against thine own head, for even now the angel of the Father hath received the sentence of the Father to cut thee in two. So put him aside and command to bring the other, and said unto him, O the seed of Canaan, and not of Judah, beauty hath deceived thee, and lust hath perverted thine heart. Thus ye have dealt with the daughters of Israel, and they for fair companied with you, but the daughter of Judah will not abide your wickedness. Now therefore tell me, on what tree didst thou take them company together? Who answered, under an home tree. So one said a mastic, one said a home. Two different stories, brother. Then said Daniel to them, well, thou hast also lied against thine own head, for the angel of the power waiteth with a sword to cut thee in two, that he may destroy you. With all the assembly cried out with a loud voice, and praised the Father, who saveth them that trusteth in him. And they rose against the two elders, for Daniel had convicted them of false witness by their own mouth. And according to the law of Moses, they did unto them in such sort they maliciously intended to do to their neighbor, and they put them to death. Thus the innocent blood was saved the same day. Therefore Celsius and his wife praised the Father, and their daughter Susanna with Jehoiakim her husband and all the kindred, because there was no dishonesty found in her. From that day forth was Daniel had in great reputation in the sight of the people. So again, it's a good and humbling account and a faith booster account to go through. That at some point in our walk, at some point in our life, we'll be put in a situation or the position of Susanna. Maybe not obviously not for the same charges or allegations, rather, but at some point, man, it will have to, the Lord will test us, the Lord will prove our faith, I would say. He'll prove our faith to the point where either way the situation may be looking bad, but we know that the Lord sees, man. The Lord sees, and that's the most important thing, man. A lot of the times, people do things to be seen of men, but at the end of the day, it's about being justified and seen in the sight of the Lord. On another account like Esther, well, if I perish, I perish. At least I was found to do the right thing in the sight of the Lord. Okay, but the Lord came through for Susanna with Daniel, okay, who put these two to the trial, and they were caught lying, and they died, man. They died. And they never rejoiced because she died. So they never rejoiced, her and her family and her husband. They never rejoiced because the two men died. They rejoiced because there was no dishonesty found in her. That's the point, even amongst brethren, man, things may go down and it's like, see, I proved them wrong. Yeah, it's not about that, man. The rejoicing is that truth came out. Because you could rejoice over a particular individual. Yeah, see, he's a nigger. Yeah, this, that, and the third. But then guess what? A couple months down the line, the Lord spins the block for your ass or my ass. Now something happens to you or me. So it's not for us to rejoice over, people like that, man. But rather glorify the Lord, that truth and mercy and righteousness will always reign. So I just thought it fitting to go through this, man. Book of Susanna, a very powerful and uplifting account whereby a sister displayed great faith and was justified, and the Lord came through for her by the hand of his servant, the prophet Daniel. Shalom.